Thank you so much for taking the time to join our live this afternoon on Modern Beauty Supplies. My name's Zeina El-Sherif, and I'm a field education trainer with the Wella Company. Hi. And today we are going to be sharing with you guys the principles for coloring fine hair for Nioxin. We are going to be doing a balayage demo, and I'm going to be joined by the Nioxin Queen, Emily Baker. So let's add her in here. Hello.
Hello, look how festive we look today.
We're so festive. I like your antlers.
Oh, thank you.
They're so sparkly.
How's everybody doing? I'm Emily Baker. I'm a field signature artist, and I'm actually north of Toronto, Ontario. So I'm excited to be on here today to work with you on this, Zeina.
Me too. I'm so excited. Anytime Emily and I get to do a live together, we're super excited.
Yeah, Zeina and I actually have a Wella history from Trend Vision 2014.
Yeah, so we've known each other a long time. So we're so happy to actually be working together for the same company. That's super exciting.
It is. Oh, hi, Nick. Nick says hi.
All right, so I'm going to start a balayage demo. Emily's going to be watching the chat box. So if you guys have any questions, make sure to put them in there. If you guys have any questions about Nioxin or coloring fine hair, now's a great time to ask because Emily is the Nioxin queen. So this is perfect.
No pressure or anything.
No, no pressure or anything, but she knows.
No, you know what? I've been working with Nioxin for a really long time, actually, since Wella took over Nioxin. It's been a long time. So it's been at least 9 years. So I pretty much have the brand tattooed on my heart and tattooed on me pretty much. I worked with a lot of the coloring principles and cutting principles. And I think when it comes to Nioxin, I think education is key for people to really understand what they're doing. So I know we're dealing with specifically the color principles today. And there's 3 of them. And Zeina, what would you say your work, we're going to describe all 3 of them to everybody, but which one would you say that you're working with today?
So today I'm going to do a balayage on my lady here. I've started with a really simple sectioning. It's just a profile parting and then sectioning from ear to ear. I like to keep my sectioning really simple when I do a balayage. I don't like to overthink it. So yeah. I think with a balayage, the main color principle that I'm using today is going to be multidimensional.
Absolutely. And I was going to actually say, so we're going to describe all 3, but I was going to say that you could almost have all 3 of them on one head.
Totally.
So there's 3 color principles. We have adaptive. So what adaptive is adapting to the environment that the hair needs, right? So if the hair is compromised, we're going to go with more of a color touch or a demi, right? We're going to go with lower developers with our blondoir, right? So adapting is really just adapting to the environment. And this is something I do in the salon, not just with fine hair clients, but with all my clients, right? Because we know healthy hair is really, really important. The second principle we're going to talk about is gradation. So gradation is taking something from darker to lighter. And a lot of the looks right now that we're seeing, especially balayage, that has some depth at the root to some lightness at the ends, right? It's more natural looking. It's creating that light effect at the ends. The third one we're talking about is multidimensional, as Zeina mentioned. And that's creating different highs and lows throughout the hair to really showcase a lot more fullness in the hair. Now, it was said before that, and this is an important tip, that if you go, I just put lots of highlights in my hair because I'm trying to camouflage my scalp. Well, it's actually the reverse. So you actually want to think about keeping the base a little bit deeper to create more fullness and draw the eyes towards the mid shaft and ends because that's where you're going to see the fullness, right? And I always describe it as and tell me if this is a good analogy, Zeina, because I can picture myself doing this, but standing in a light room or standing in a room that's all painted black, right? If you stand in a room that's all painted white, the room looks bigger. right? So that's what we're trying to create, expand the hair, right? So that's just really the 3 coloring principles. And I like to simplify it because really there's 3 things that we really have to look into when coloring fine hair. Zeina, what technique? So you're doing a balayage here.
Yeah, so I think based on those color principles, I think a balayage is a really great example of all of those because like you said, we want to keep some depth at the root and draw the eye towards the mids and the ends. So I am doing a free painting balayage. I'm using Free Lights lightener and I mixed it with 40 volume. And I'm actually using 2 different lighteners. So I started a paint right here in the front and I used my Free Lights lightener. But with the next section, I am going to use Magma instead and use it as a painting tool as well. I think Magma is such a great tool to paint with because it's a clay lightener also. So you can use it to free paint as well. And speaking on like the multi-dimensional principle, we want to have like different depths and we want to have different colors in this look too.
So I'm getting Maggie saying, yes, break out that 40. So I want to go back to you talking about you're using 40 volume for Free Lights.
Yes.
I want to talk about the strength because balayage is open air, really essentially when we're using a 40 with Free Lights, we're looking at, it's more like a 20. It's a lot gentler on the hair, right? So I just wanted to add that in as well. Yeah, because we're getting some comments.
Absolutely. And really with Free Lights, we don't really look at the lighteners as 20, 30, 40. We look at it as like gentle lift or maximum lift. So in this particular situation, we want to get maximum lift. Even though she has fine hair, a 40 volume with Free Lights, like Emily said with this technique, isn't going to be overly damaging. However, with Magma, I did mix stroke 7.3 with 20 volume. And the reason I'm using a low volume developer with Magma is because I actually don't want a ton of lift with these pieces. Magma really works with those underlying pigments to create a tone. So I don't want a ton of lift in this section here. I want to keep this to more of a brown. I'm expecting this to lift to a blonde, these bleached pieces with Free Lights. But with Magma, I only want maybe like a level of lift. And I just want to add tone in here. So I'm keeping my developer strength very low.
So we had a comment here, sorry Z.
Yeah, no.
They're just mentioning that they haven't tried the clay lightener yet. They haven't tried Free Lights, and they're just asking if it's a gentler lift. So absolutely. So I think one thing we have to keep in mind when we're using Free Lights is that it's for that sun-kissed look, right? So it's the tone on tone. It's a sun-kissed look. We're going to get that natural freehand paint balayage look. And where we place it is where it's going to stay.
Yeah, that's what I love about it. And it's cool that we can use 2 different lighteners in this scenario and create a multi-dimensional look.
Absolutely. So that looks great, Z. So I think something else that we should maybe mention is consultation. So this is a big one because I have a lot of people ask me, well, you know, how do I consult with my fine hair client? Like, how do I really, you know, connect with them? How do I mention to them that they have fine hair, right? That's another thing that's huge. How do I bring this up? So really, ultimately, as you guys know, it is about the relationship with the client. And when you are consulting with somebody with fine hair, you want to keep close eye contact. You want to make them feel like you're really personally understanding them. And also just really understanding that they don't have a lot of hair and what they have is what they've got, right? So they want to hang on to whatever it is they have, right? So I would start by, you know, asking them, you know, is your ponytail getting smaller? Are you stressed out? Like asking them questions that revolve around fine hair and see what their responses are. And then you can go ahead then at that point, and we will talk about this shortly, but then you can get them on a Nioxin regimen, right? Because as we know, this is about the coloring principles, but it is really, really important to get them on a regimen right away, like on a system kit, right? So that's something that's really important. And also, depending on what type of hair they have, and if they have color hair, there's a kit for color treated. We've got hi Nichelle, hi Maggie, hi Nick. We got all our peeps on here supporting us.
We got all the Wella people.
It's funny because I did a live with Maggie last week. I think it was last week. I can't keep track of my days. Yeah, last week. And I said on the live, it was Wella Studio Toronto, I said, this is my last live until after the Christmas break.
You forgot about me.
I know, Z, I'm sorry. So actually, this is the last live for me. I don't know about for Zeina, because Zeina's very busy right now before the Christmas break. So that's why we had the festive antlers, just to keep it a little bit more exciting and to keep everyone in the mood here.
The Christmas mood. This is actually my last live before Christmas as well.
Oh, good.
So thanks to Modern for letting us come on here.
I think it's really fantastic too that, you know, Modern, Wella Studio Toronto, Wella Canada West, we're all really, and Wella Education, we're all really supporting the stylists through lockdown with education. I think like it really, really is important to keep everyone feeling refreshed and connected.
Yeah, absolutely. And we love doing these too.
You just got, somebody just said, love your live, Zeina.
Oh, who's that? Chanel.
Yeah, Chanel. Love your live, Zeina.
Thanks for coming, Chanel. I appreciate it. So I just wanted to point out.
Are you painting? I'm just noticing your technique there, Zeina. And do you always paint in W's, or you do V's, or you alternate?
Okay, so when I have a large section like this, I should have said, when I have a large section like this, I don't like to do only a V, because then there's going to be all this dark through here. So it just depends where you want to see the lightness and where you want to see the dark, just because I took a pretty wide section here. So you could totally do a V here, but keep in mind there's going to be a ton of depth through there. And that's not necessarily wrong. I just wanted to give her some lightness through those mids. What I wanted to point out too, because I'm using two different lighteners, but they're both clay lighteners, these pieces can literally lay on top of each other, and there's not going to be any bruising or any like transfer onto those pieces either. So this is a really wide section. It's pretty big. So what I would like to do is split this into two, just so I can control this section a bit better.
Another comment. Great work, Z. Thanks for sharing your techniques.
Oh, oh, thanks, Rachel.
Yeah, Rachel Crew Hair. You got some big fans here, Zeina.
Okay, so I'm just going to take my section and hold it nice and tight. And I'm just going to unload my brush through those mids there and just apply some of that lightener. And just kind of sweep it close to that root. Just because I want to give her a money piece. Even though we want to keep those roots nice and dark to give her that gradation, I just want to sweep that nice and close, because it's still going to be super soft once that close to the root too.
Absolutely. So again, because she's creating that lightness right through the mid shaft and ends, it's really going to draw the eye there to create a lot more fullness, right? So if somebody comes in with fine hair and you see that their hair is compromised and it's fine, that might not be an option to go in with free lights, right? You might have to go in with color touch. Mm-hmm. You might have to adapt to the situation, right? So we're talking about the color principles here for anyone who just joined, and with Nioxin and coloring fine hair. And what the three principles are is gradation, multidimensional, right? And adaptive. So really, I think essentially these are things that should be taken into consideration with every fine-haired client, right? And especially adaptive color. So adapting to the environment that you have and what you have to work with. And really not being, I think as stylists too, we have to really own our ownership over our craft, right? And if we know that we shouldn't be doing something, it's okay to say no, right? I think a lot of us sometimes don't think, okay, I don't want to say no to this client. I don't want to disappoint them. I think it's really, really important to know when is the right time to say no. Would you agree, Zeina?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially with coloring fine hair too. We don't want to over lighten it. We don't want to over process it. we don't want them to feel like their hair is even finer than what they started out with, right? So I think that's why I like to go in with like products like Free Lights, because even though I'm using a higher volume, like Emily said, it's really almost like just using a 20 ball on these ends.
Absolutely. So I'm gonna, Zia, if you don't mind, you're gonna keep working there. I'm just gonna talk about the system kits quickly, okay? So those of you that are on today that don't know Nioxin and are trying to learn about the education of it, what Nioxin is it is basically a deep follicle cleanser, okay? So your scalp is an extension of your face, but we don't think of it as facial skin because it's covered up by hair. So we're never really like thinking about that, right? So this is basically your skincare regimen for your scalp skin. So we think of it as like a deep follicle cleanser. Okay, so it's cleaning out those hair follicles. And if we get buildup and environment residue in those follicles, it plugs them up just like the pores on our face, right? And then hair has a hard time growing out because it's trapped around the follicle or it's plugged up. So when we're using system kits, we're keeping those clean. So it's not just for the fine hair client, it's really for somebody who wants a preventative as well and wants to really just take care of their scalp skin, right? So we actually have 6 systems. And the way I describe it, I'm going to pull it out of the box here. The only thing I have at home right now are 2 and 4. So my stock is getting a little limited here, guys. So we have 6. I would say our 2 most popular are System 3 and System 5. They're both for color treated hair. System 3 is for somebody who wants more volume in their hair, and System 5 is for somebody who wants more smoothing in their hair. And maybe their hair is a little bit thicker, right? But they need some smoothing. They don't want as much volume. So I'm going to show you. So it comes like this. So you've got your cleanser, which is your shampoo, okay? And you need a very small amount of this. It's very concentrated. It goes a long way. Your scalp therapy is your conditioner, okay? So a lot of people too, well, I don't want to use conditioner. My hair's fine. It's going to weigh my hair down. Conditioner, I got to tell you guys, is extremely important for the scalp skin. So a lot of people want to skip that on the scalp skin because I don't need it. But especially in the winter time, those of you who are in a cold climate, because some of you watching may not be, we really need to condition that scalp. And Nioxin is designed to not weigh your hair down because it is for the fine-haired client, right? So that's something important to know. I think a lot of people try to skip conditioner, and I think it's not good for the scalp. And then we have our 3rd step, which is our scalp treatment. Okay, so this is, I basically say it's like your cleanser, moisturizer, and toner. The only thing you're switching up is your moisturizer and toner. Your moisturizer goes first and then your toner. Normally on our skin, we do toner then moisturizer, right? So that's really the only thing you're switching up. So you want to think of it like that, right? Anything you wanted to add to that, Zeina?
Well, you know what's really interesting about the system kits that I never knew until pretty much I started working with Wella.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting that the conditioner goes on the scalp.
Yes.
Because I think, like you were saying, a lot of people with fine hair are afraid of conditioner, like in general. Like I have so many clients who will be like, oh, I just don't use conditioner. I'm like, what? Because I can't imagine that life. But
well, that's why you hear me stressing it, right? Because in a lot of my seminars, because I teach a lot of Nioxin seminars, I've done some media stuff. I've done an article for Reader's Digest recently. So I think what's really important is to stress that, because if you really think about it, if it's the same skin as your face gets dry, right, Zeina? So your scalp's gonna get dry the same way. Yeah. It's that's just choosing the right one, really, right?
Yeah, and it's not designed to weigh your hair down at all, right, Emily? Like if
at all.
Scalp, it won't feel, but it's moisturizing enough where it's going to moisturize those ends as well.
Yes, but we do have 2 systems that have a smoothing in them. So that's System 5 and System 6. So the only thing is, if you maybe had a client that was noticeably thinning and they use System 5, they may not like it. It may weigh their hair down a little bit. So it is important to know which system is right for the client, right? So you could go on to the Nioxin app. There's information on there. You could DM us if you want. I'm not sure if some of you follow Zeina on Instagram. You can find information there, but really, guys, if you give them the wrong system, they may find that. But you just want to be careful with the smoothing ones, if that makes sense. Another tip, for those of you who already are users and have it in the salon, people are like, well, what's the difference between 3 and 5? Like, how do I know if my client's a 3 or a 5? That's a great question. So my question I ask right off the hop is, do you want volume or do you want moisture? If they say volume, I send them to system 3. If they say moisture, I send them to system 5. That's how you know, just clear as day that way. If they're a system 3, but they're like, I want volume, but I do want moisture too, then that's when I would look at the density repair mask as well. I would send them home with system 3, and then I would send them home with the Nioxin mask.
Oh, that's a good tip,
Yeah, so then they get both, right? So that is really just the best way to know how to navigate between the two.
Okay, so I've just finished one side of the front here. So you can see how I've alternated the lighteners that I'm using. So I've used free lights, I've used magma, and that's what's gonna give us our multi-dimensional look. And I'm not gonna do this side because it's gonna be the same as this side. So I thought I'd show you guys a bit of the back with the time that we have left, because I know the back always has lots of questions.
That's really nice, Zeina. Great work.
So I just did a diagonal section here, and I'll start back here while you start answering more questions.
Are you going to be posting your after picture?
I definitely can post the after picture. I have an after mannequin here as well.
Oh, great. Okay, awesome.
Okay, so I'm just going to, I always need my clients to like kind of help me a little bit. I need them to tilt.
Would you, sorry, I'm reading, I realized I don't have my glasses on. Would you be able to clarify if the night density rescue is being discontinued? Thanks. As far as I know, no, but I will get the proper information, and I can DM you. Just seeing who that client is there.
Oh, that's Rachel. I'll send you her Instagram.
Okay, great. I screenshotted too. Perfect. Yeah, I'll get back to you on that, Rachel. I just don't want to give wrong information.
There was another question about the system kits, Emily.
Oh, okay. I have another question too. Which magma are you using again? What's the formula?
Oh, okay. I am using stroke 7.3. Yep. And I'm using it with 20 volume because I don't want a lot of lift with those magma pieces. I just wanted to put some tone in her hair. So I really like using magma in a balayage, especially when I'm using free lights as well, because it's cool. It gives it a multi-dimensional look. I think sometimes it's hard to give our clients, like I get those pictures all the time where clients will show us different tones in the hair, and maybe they have one solid color, and that can be really hard to give them with just one lightener, right? So it's cool that magma lifts and tones the hair simultaneously, so that way we can give clients a multi-dimensional look without having to, because there's no way to bleach her hair and then pick out pieces and tone it, right? So it's a great way of giving someone dimension and just like more interest to their hair too, rather than just one color. That's what I really like about magma.
Yeah, I think it's really cool that we have that option, right, to mix it into magma. I think that's amazing. Someone's asking, so I did find the question, what system are we talking about so I can catch up? So just basically we're talking about the Nioxin system kits, and there's 6 of them. Okay, there's 6 different systems. You need to do a thorough consultation with your client to know which system is right for them. So there is 6. And the only ones I have on here today are 2 and 4. So you will notice on the packaging that it will say on the front for like noticeably thinning and normal to thin looking. So here's another tip, okay? If you're like, well, I don't know if they're if they're normal to thin looking or if they're progressed thinning. Like, I don't know, right? So that's when you're choosing between a 4 and a 3 and they're color treated and you're like, well, I don't know. So here's the rule. If you see more scalp than you do hair, then you want to lean them towards system 4. If you see more hair than you do scalp, then they're most likely a system 3, if that makes sense. So progressed thinning, you would see more of the scalp. And then that's when I would recommend more of a progressed kit. So right on the front, it'll say progressed or normal to thin looking. And that'll help you with your consultation as well.
So I have a question for you that I get asked pretty often about Nioxin.
Great.
How often, how long does it take to see a result?
So if you're going to use the system kit every single day, they say up to 30 days. If you're using it every single day. So some people, here's what I get a lot, because as stylists, sometimes we wash your hair once a week. We have a wash regimen, you know, we know what we're doing. But I say to people, okay, that's okay if you wash once a week. But if you're somebody who's coming to Nioxin because you have a concern, we don't wash our faces once a week. We wash our face every day, right? So if you have a thinning concern, I would make sure and yes, it's a bit of work, but I would be using the system kit every single day just to get those follicles really deep cleaned, if that makes sense. I don't know if that answers your question, Z.
Yeah, that helps. Because if they're a once a week shampooer like me,
it's going to be longer. So if you're using it every other day, then think about 60 days, right? And so on. It'll take a little longer to see a result. If you want to see a result faster, then you should shampoo with it every single day. Now, keep in mind though, your heat styling, right? You want to be careful, because if you're washing every day, you're styling every day, right? So you might want to have a couple days if you're going to get going where you're just kind of like giving your hair a rest. And if some of us are on lockdown, we're giving our hair a rest anyway. So now would be a good time to try it, right? Because you don't have to style it every day. You can give it a rest, right? Style it maybe every other or every 3 days, right? Or if you're going on a Zoom class, if you're going on a live, right? You can give your hair a rest. But one product I do recommend when heat styling is Therm Active Protector from Nioxin. So this is really fantastic if you are somebody that you're like, well, you know, that sounds good, Emily, and all, but I need to style every day. So then I would recommend, you know, a thermal protector, and this is a fantastic one. Now, we have great products in Wella, great products in Sebastian, but a lot of Nioxin users, I always recommend that if they have concerns and they have fine hair, to stick with the Nioxin styling products as well, because they don't have any heavy silicones in them, so they're not going to plug up the pores, right? We want to work with the whole regimen, then we stick to the line, right? Mixing and matching products is completely fine as well. It's not going to harm the system kit at all. So if you're using, you know, you're like, well, I like Thermal Image from Wella, right? That's not a problem, right? It's just, it's preference as well. And usually if somebody with fine hair is going with a system kit, they're going to stick with the styling products as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. What I love about the Nioxin products too is that they're super light. So usually when people have fine hair, they don't really want anything super heavy anyway. And they're also really conditioning also.
So Zeina, there's a question. Is there a specific color brush you like to use when you're applying your balayage?
Oh, okay. I am using the Free Lights angled brush. This is what it looks like. So it's a small brush. It's angled, which is nice. It's kind of nice because it allows me to give those finer details. And then, so when I'm doing these finer details, kind of like through the top, I'm kind of just using this part of the brush here to get those small details in. And then when I start packing on color through those mids, I start to lay the brush a bit more flat so I can pack color on a little bit faster. So this brush is my go-to when I'm doing a free paint, just because I like how, I don't know, how like detailed you can be with it.
So we have a question here. This is interesting. Hi, I'm in Victoria. Is it available to buy out here? I'm not a stylist, but I'd love to try some of these products.
Oh, that's my cousin.
Is it?
Hi, Leanna.
I was like,
And,
I'm pretty sure you need to have a license, but
well, you know what? These products would be great for her because she just had a baby. So I don't know
so
if you
I
want to
thought
talk
she
about
was
that.
talking about the color, Zeina. I didn't know
Oh,
she was talking about the system kit. So that's
oh,
your cousin.
I think she's talking about the system kit. I don't think she would do
Perfect.
this on herself. But Emily, I don't know if you want to talk about like using Nioxin products post pregnancy. Like I
Yes.
think that would
So
probably.
actually, I'm currently pregnant as well, which I just announced it not too long ago. So I think what's huge is postpartum, we develop a lot of hair loss, right? And so I say if you have a client that is trying to conceive or they already are pregnant, I would recommend putting them on a kit right away. Even though your hair is your ultimate best during pregnancy, it changes again after you give birth, right? Due to hormones. So I think using it as a preventative right away is going to help slow down the hair loss. It's not going to probably stop it from happening, but it's going to most likely slow it down. So it is a really good idea if you're not on a system kit and you are postpartum or you're planning a pregnancy to get going with Nioxin right away.
Yeah, that's great advice. Lana, I'll help you with getting a Nioxin system kit.
So Wella Studio Toronto's asking me, have you had the chance to try scalp relief? I haven't. I wish. So I'm waiting for the goods. We have a new scalp relief coming out with Nioxin. So I'm not going to reveal too much about it yet because in the new year, I'll be talking a lot about it. I'm doing some media stuff on it. I'll be talking to some journalists on Zoom about it and some influencers. So
Ooh.
it is, it's an exciting new thing coming with Nioxin. And that's all I'm going to say right now because I don't want to spoiler. But it's free of some parabens and stuff. So it's a little bit more of a natural product and for people who have a little bit more sensitivities. So that's pretty exciting. But no, I haven't, Robin. If that was Robin asking me that, I'm not sure who's controlling the social today.
That's exciting.
Yeah, it is exciting.
I can't wait to hear your review about it.
Yeah, I can't wait to receive it and try it so that I can really let everybody know how it's going. So I've got a lot of stuff going in the new year with that. So stay tuned for that, guys.
Okay, Emily, how are we doing for time there?
So we're just about near the end here. So
Okay.
I'm just going to see if there's any more questions. You can finish up what you're doing. Oh, yeah, it's Robin. She says guilty as charged. It's Robin here.
Hi, Robin.
So, Zeina, fantastic job on this mannequin. You really are a balayage. So you're calling me the Nioxin queen. I'm going to put the spotlight on you and call you the balayage queen.
Oh,
Do
thanks.
that?
Well, I still got some of the back left to do. I don't know if we're running out of time though.
That's okay. No, we are running out of it. We're at, we probably have about 5 minutes left.
Okay. You know what? I think what I should do, because a lot of people ask me questions about what happens when you get to here. So I'm going to pretend like I did this side.
Great idea.
It'll be the same as the other side. And I'm
Yep.
going to show you guys what I would do for here. So with this top part here, because a lot of people are like, oh, what do you do? Like, do you continue kind of going like this? Do you create it into one? I often like to continue to just do these diagonal sections like this, let those fall. And then I kind of like to connect by taking this section like this, because this is going to fall right over top like that. And I like to take this as one section because we can kind of see, or if she's splitting a lot like this, sometimes I'll take it in two. It kind of depends how this crown is moving, to be honest. I don't like fighting the hair. So if she's got like I kind of go with how this part is going. So if she's got like a strong cowlick here, I kind of just let it do its thing and see how it's going to lay, because most people don't tame their cowlicks unless you're styling them. And I paint to how she's parting back here. That's what I would do.
That's a great tip, Zeina. So just really how it naturally falls.
Yeah, exactly. So this piece here, this little triangle section that's going to fall right over top, I would take this into one and just kind of paint that. And this is going to kind of cover that back section. And then this is just going to fall right over.
That's a great tip. I think when it comes to balayage in the crown or any coloring in the crown section, we get a little bit freaked out, right? We just, because once you lay it somewhere, and I think natural fall is really the way to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, I have a finished mannequin here that I can show you guys.
Great. We still have a few minutes, so you don't have to rush.
Okay. Sorry, I feel like I always run out of time on these balayage ones.
There's so much to show and so little time.
I know. All right, so
here's keep everybody's attention. Oh, that's beautiful, Zeina.
Right? Here's our finished balayage look. So I did this exact same technique on my mannequin I think it was last week. And you can really see how that stroke 7-3 gives us a ton of warmth and a ton of dimension. I wanted to, I mean, this is a little sneak peek into what's coming in the new year because I toned her with one of the new Illumina shades. And the new Illumina shade is kind of like a rose gold warm color. So I really wanted that magma tone to have some warmth to it. Is my camera angle weird? Can you guys see?
No, it looks fantastic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
I mean, taking this back to those coloring of Nioxin principles, we really want to keep that root nice and shadowed so that we're not accentuating that scalp. And we really want to have some depth and some dimension through those ends here. Because I think, like Emily was saying before, like having depth with someone with fine hair is super important. So we don't want to just like bleach them and have it all solid. And what I love about a balayage is even though it looks like I'm painting a lot of hair, there's still quite a lot of depth through those pieces. So I think it's really nice to kind of give her some warm tones and some dimension in there too. Sorry.
That's beautiful, Zeina. Nice work. So that is one of the new Illumina shades, 959, I believe, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's a little sneak peek.
That's going to be a goodie.
They're not out yet, so.
No, I had a chance to work with the 10-stroke 8-1, and it was stunning. I did do a post about that, but.
Ooh, I gotta try. I haven't tried that one yet.
Yeah, it's exciting for the new year that we're launching a few new things, so can't wait for that. Beautiful work, Zeina.
What is the toner? So the toner is 9-stroke 5-9 in Illumina. So like I said, I used free lights with 40 volume for these light pieces. And free lights does get pretty light, guys. The processing time is up to 50 minutes. So I maxed out that processing time. And then I used stroke 7-3 as those warmer kind of pieces in there. I only used it with 20 volume because I didn't want much lift. I just wanted to kind of bump it up a little bit and add a bit of tone. And I actually didn't do a melt or anything. So this is the mannequin's base. So I didn't melt her. I didn't do anything. What I love about a free paint is it's going to come out with that gradation, like one of those Nioxin principles, and it's going to come out blended. So I didn't feel like I needed to melt her. I didn't feel like I needed to blend out any harsh lines because there really are no harsh lines when you do.
Another great call out for that, Z, I think, for fine hair is when you're doing something like a balayage, what's really great about that for fine hair is they don't have to come as often.
Yes.
So they're creating less damage in their hair because you really don't want them coming as often, right? So you want to create a few more options for them. If you're doing gray coverage, that's a different story. Then maybe you're just touching up the balayage once every few months, right? So it's really just taking care of that hair in between and giving them a little bit more longevity between appointments.
Yeah, absolutely. So they're not coming every 6 weeks and doing like a highlight to the root. That's a good quality. I saw Rachel's comment earlier. We need to talk more about these lighteners. We absolutely will.
Yeah, I'm just seeing if we're missing anything here before we. Oh yeah, the lighteners. I just saw that. We got a lot of people watching today. Awesome. I think that's it for today, right, Z?
I think so. I think that's all we have. I saw a bunch of people just join. So if you guys missed it, this is going to be posted on the Modern Beauty Supplies IGTV. If you guys aren't following us and you want to DM us any questions about anything we talked about today, I put Emily's Instagram there. She is the Nioxin queen. So if you guys have any questions about any of the Nioxin products, she's your go-to for sure. And make sure you're following Bella Canada West as well. And I'm Z Her Warrior. And what else do you want to say, Em?
I just want to say happy holidays, Merry Christmas. Everybody enjoy your holiday. Yes, these are tough times that we're in, but we're going to get through it and we're going to have a great, strong new year.
Yes, absolutely. Merry Christmas, everyone. Thank you so much for watching.
Thanks
nice
a
to
lot,
meet you.
guys. Thanks, Modern Beauty Supply, so much for letting us use this as a platform.
Thanks. Bye.